Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasyadilakshyan Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sākṣī Bhūtam Bhavatitam Trigunarait Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Sthiti Prakarana, section 18, and the topic is insight into the workings of the mind, and especially highlighted by gaining insight into pure mind and impure mind. The mind here is complete, four-aspected mind, called Antahakarana. Deep unconscious is called Chitta. Egoism is called Ahamkar. Intellect, Buddhi. Manas, mind and senses that bring practical experiences. That's called Manas. Manas gives you practical experiences. Buddhi acts as an evaluator. Which experiences to be accepted, which to be ignored, done by your intellect. But intellect and ego have a strange relationship. If you are advanced, you don't listen to your ego. Intellect is highlighted. Intellect says something, ego bows down. Not so advanced, intellect says and then looks at the ego. You like it? And ego says, no. Then the intellect now discovers foxy rationality to justify what ego wants. That was the role played by Karna for those who are studying Mahabharata. So, purity of these fourfold aspects, that gives you a totally different understanding and experience of what you are and all your problems. That's totally different. But impure state, that's limitless. Simple way to understand. How you experience the world during the night with twinkle, twinkle stars, a little bit of the moon. And then you look at the trees and look at wherever you are. Fills your mind with countless images because it is backed up by your subconscious, unconscious imaginations. A little tree waves, you look through a little window. And your mind remembers someone told you there is a ghost living nearby. So surely that ghost has come. I'm just giving you simple. But this is not one or two illustrations. Countless during the night. One single person experiences countless illusions. So you don't have to add others. See, that one is enough. But when light comes in, the sun rises. In the beginning, you dramatize, the sun is sending forth its rays. The Daivi Sampat, divine qualities are emanating. But as that rays begin to march, the entire demoniac race, Nishachar, all that seems to be active in the realm of darkness, they are called Nishachar. They prefer night for their entertaining life. Day is dumb. So all those Nishacharas begin to run away. And then look for them. Where are they run? You will never know. And if you are doing that, you have not seen the sunrise. Try to figure it out. Negativity is not a reality. No matter how much it may haunt you, you might have experienced through that through many lives. The whole world goes on telling the story of negativity, terror. Mind has become so accustomed to terror that if you go for entertainment, it doesn't give you any terroristic picture. You feel bored. So, since the individual mind is limited and impure, it cannot mingle with an unlimited or pure mind. There is an insight being given into human relationships. In all relationships, the highlight is you want to be close to people whom you love. But if you don't understand the people with whom you love, then the relationship is a ship that is risky. On the other hand, positive aspect, all loved ones, and loved ones then now become unlimited. You understand, a deeper understanding what is good. To figure that out is a very prominent point in life, and that's what every home suffers from. In every little detail, a person didn't eat food because he has indigestion. But the loved one says, you have to do it. I cooked for 3 hours for you. Don't fall for what others are telling you. This is the most nourishing thing. I'm not underestimating. Any good thing you want to do it. That's okay. Try to give a little room to understand what will really help the person whom you are loving. So if your mind is not pure, then you are loving your own attitudes, your own concept of what will please you, not what others. But your mind itself is foxy. It makes you believe how much you love. And in your love, you are hurting the person worse than an enemy could have hurt. That's called Moha. Life goes on in every family. Ideal, pure mind. Mind, greater the purity, greater is your ability to put yourself in other shoes. Instead of just scolding, why are you walking so strangely? Person said, a few pinches. And you say, nothing. I bought this the best shoe for you. For you. It cannot pinch. Don't pinch my heart. Your mind, you put yourself in their shoes. Try to develop type of a sympathetic. That happens like intuitive, without effort. That's the characteristic of pure love, profounder love. But from limited love to profounder love is a progressive movement. If you don't find that you are succeeding, don't worry. Brahma has been already authenticated, given authenticity to light. The light is going to win. That's called Brahma-Rekhā. The Masters talk about Brahma-Rekhā in relation to destiny. Anything that happens, people say, it was destined. It cannot be avoided. You cannot delete it. So far, science has not discovered anything, any powder or spray to delete what is written by Brahma. And people become, on that basis, confined to a very narrow-minded attitude that everything happening is by fate. And you can't do anything about it. But that's a completely wrong understanding. You are the architect of your destiny. You are the one who promoted your bondage. You will be able to attain liberation. You have all that. But what is Brahma's line? That is, no matter how trapped you are, how much you are trapped in the world of illusion, that will not be your permanent status. Every status in this world is shifting, called kshanabhangur, momentary. And that's Brahma's stamp. What will not change is your reality. So, in brief, your destiny to attain enlightenment, that cannot be altered. But your destiny to stay miserable, that can be altered. That's based on karma. An impure mind is able to mingle with another impure mind to a certain extent. One fox gets very close to another fox. And they tell foxy stories all through the night of joy. That's the picture of human relations that are not very advanced. You plan a lot for a long time to visit your near and dear ones during special days like Christmas. But even while planning, you start putting your ducks in a row. You have figured out what you have to say, how many stories you have to tell. And you have a lot with you. The person who is waiting for you has also planned the same thing. Now, all through the meeting, this you are dumping on that, the person dumping on. And teeth are shining from the lips. This is a picture of practical reality. But to be a spiritual aspirant, you have to rise beyond it. You have to avoid unnecessary chit-chatting that has no meaning. Bring those type of chit-chatting that brings a church in your house, a real church. That is meaningful, practical, helpful. And as mind gains purity, this type of art develops in your heart. You don't have to work hard for it. Your mother doesn't have to work hard. How will I touch the baby's nose? Spontaneous. Greatest of things happen in a spontaneous way. How does the blossom comes? How a peacock spreads its feathers with such beautiful colors. How does a swan soar? Things come with spontaneity. And most magnanimous, most inspiring things develop on the basis of spontaneity. But where impure mind is constantly trying to play tricks, there spontaneity is dumped. A lot of stress begins to develop. Good things have happened, we're not sure because use your foxy method. So therefore, in success there is stress. Failure, there is stress, of course. Together it is stress. Similarly, when the mind of an individual becomes increasingly purified, it is then able to mingle with the minds of the enlightened sages, and through their help is able to discover the absolute reality behind the illusion of names and forms. Furthermore, a pure mind can gain access into an impure mind, and it is in this way an advanced yogi understands the problems of others and helps to dissolve those problems. Very subtle psychology. Subtle psychology is, firstly, if you have impure mind that has not risen above anger, hate, greed, if that is the type of mind, you will not understand others' problems. You will send out your best of detectives. I'm joking. Act of insight. Exercise your insight. Play various tricks to communicate with the person. You can wire the person. Go and listen to whatever he says. People do that. But all that you are hearing is not the person. Because even whatever the person is doing at home and saying, person himself is not completely attuned to all that he is doing. So you're getting all that through a leakage, secret leakage. That helps you. Doesn't help you. But what I'm leading to understand, advanced personality, if your mind becomes advanced, purified, and come to a very ideal, those who are enlightened, they have the special trick. They send out detectives into your mind. How do they do that? By planting a thought. A thought enters your mind and it seems very wonderful, cozy, but it begins to make you aware of your errors. Simple illustration, have sākṣī bhāv. It's wonderful. That is a trick. To see yourself not exactly what you are thinking. So allow yourself possibility to evaluate and make a change. But if you don't have the sākṣī bhāv, you are swimming with it and you are drowning with it. In other words, satsanga, swadhyaya, study of scriptures, listening to all those Ramayana, Mahabharata, all that your mind says is very entertaining. But then you fall into the trick. Certain things go deep into your unconscious. While you are listening and enjoying, you don't know the full implications. Even the idea, the glory of a name, divine name, japa, satsanga. Once your mind gets drawn in that, now the nirmal man of the sage, pure mind of the sage, starts working wonders. And the more nirmal you are, greater is your ability to inspire others. Just like a mother has the ability to inspire the baby not to be full of mud, etc. But the mother uses her heart in doing that. May not be all mothers, but let's see. Motherly mother I'm talking. So here lies, I have given you the subtlety of relationships and the philosophy behind it. If you want better relationship, more harmony, allow your subjective sadhana, do your sadhana, do your japa, allow your mind to come closer to God, and then begin to see God's presence in others and recognize that in every relation you are relating yourself to God within people. People themselves are not separate personalities. All waves are the ocean. So a wave that sets up relationship with other waves without the understanding that the ocean is behind it, then you are compelled to wave goodbye to all. But when you worship the wave, ocean in a wave, there's no waving. Figure that out. Every soul experiences the three states of waking, dream, and deep sleep. When these three states are transcended, the soul discovers its essential nature as Brahman, the Absolute, and becomes free from the world process. Let me give you broader understanding. Everyone is aware of three states. Waking. Waking state is your practical reality. Without being in waking state, you cannot create your karmas, neither can you exhaust your karmas. Waking state is your footing in the world. Stepping down from waking state is dream state. Stepping down further from that state is a deep sleep state. These three are broad divisions. Now, come to understand. While you are experiencing waking, dream, and deep sleep, the entire process is a fraudulent process. Because to begin with, you are not waking. You are not awake. So, already you are at a fraudulent level, going to worse level, dream and deep sleep. All this becomes a negative movement. Now, what is waking from spiritual point of view? If you develop aspiration for God realization, if your mind becomes keen with clear understanding that your purpose in your life is to attain liberation, not to stay in the cycle of birth and death. And if you are awake to understand that all things that people consider pleasure is actually painful. Sarvam dukkam vivekina. Being embodied is not the healthy state of your soul. You are suffering from bhava vyadhi, the mother of all diseases. So when you begin to understand that, with qualifications developing by vivek, vairagya and all that, then you are considered awake, jagrat. Now this jagrat state, which keeps your nerves and your whole body as if alert, comes to a soothing state if you further go to another level. With Jagrata state, you have the ability to nourish yourself by spiritual food, satsanga. The more awake, greater is your possibility for practicing reflection, assimilating the teachings. In other words, there is effective process of your spiritual evolution. The next level that you reach is dream state. But now the dream state you are coming is not the previous type. The previous type was -2. Now you have +2. A little algebra is needed. Number is the same, but it's plus and minus. Normally you are awake, but it's not plus, -1. You go to dream, -2. Go to sleep, -3. I've kept it simple, otherwise it's much bigger number. If you spiritually advance, first step +1. You're waking and it is a positive awakening. Now, more positive you became, you move to another level. Level can be described allegorically like an experience in your dream. But while you are dreaming, you are aware that it is a dream. Everyone has that experience, not always. While dreaming, there comes a moment when you are extremely shocked, but then suddenly something develops. It's a dream. It's a dream. Let me wake up. But even though there is some duration of time between your understanding it is a dream and to wake up, what happens? The dream continues, but it is not giving you that type of pain and that type of terror. You see your own body being crushed, and you are looking. You are waiting to wake up. When you come to that level of spiritual awakening, a spiritual growth, Yoga Vasistha calls it. The first one is called Sattva-patti. This level is called Asaṃsakti. Now what happens once you realize it is a dream, you have no attachment to anything. You may hold an apple in your hand, but you know neither the hand is going to be there nor the apple. And we're not worried about it. But if you have to face that predicament in daily life, it's the most tragic situation. So even the most tragic situation of the practical world becomes a fading phenomenon in that level. And this is the plus 2 level, not the -2. And that's not enough. Even that dream moves away, and you are gone to deep sleep. Normal sleeping is at -3 level. You moved away from the practical world to such a state where you are, until you wake up, your practical reality, your purushartha is suspended. But now, following the positive movement, you are awake. Now you became super awake because of spiritual understanding that the world cannot drown you. You are like the sky. You can experience all types of things, positive and negative. But they cannot create even a single scratch over your vast body. So that's Asaṃsakti. You've come to +2. Now, this Asaṃsakti state, as further spiritual growth continues, the dream has moved away. And the world is seen as absolute illusion. Now we are talking about the sky that's cloudless. No one to talk to. Absolute sleep. You leap into sleep. And then they're called +3 state. So understand the -3, -1, -2, -3. waking, dream, deep sleep for the general masses, plus movement for spiritual aspirants, plus one waking with spiritual aspiration, coming to a stage where you see the world like just a dream. It's not reality. Your heart is not shaken. Third level is not even a dream. It's completely snake on the rope. No snake. And now comes the fourth step, which now keeps you in absolute reality. Reality didn't go through all these things. The sun never went through the trouble of becoming a reflection and moving from one part to another. But while you are describing the reflected sun, you describe all different things that have gone on to it. But when all your descriptions terminate and you keep quiet, the question of making a story about the sun does not arise. Sun alone is there. In other words, simple term, indescribable. Now what you are describing is Turiya, the fourth, the transcendental. And that, describing in the terms of bhumikas, stages, first one, waking, is sattva apatti. Mind has become enlightened, pure. Next one, Asaṃsakti, like dream, mind handles all things but remains detached. And then padartha bhavana. The whole world is padartha, something you can handle. But all this world completely is absent, padartha bhavana. Nothing. In sleep, that's what happens. All time, space, all your stories of past and future, all moved away. And then the fourth step, where all this description is transcended. You count them all, they become like 7 steps. 3, 3 plus 1. Brahman, who is also called Turiya, is the essence behind all the experiences of the jiva. That's your reality, Turiya. And that's described in the terms of Om. A-U-M. A is the waking state. U is the dream state. I'm talking positive. M is the sleep state. And transcending all is the fourth aspect of Om. The sages made this whole profound study very simple. Can't remember anything, just remember Om and go home. Just as the eyes are unable to look at themselves, in the same way, the seeing self, due to its externalization, is unable to discover its own essential glory. Now try to understand. Who attains realization? Does Brahman attain realization? And the soul that attains realization, to begin with, is not the reality. The reflected sun in a jar attains liberation. But this, the language itself, is in the realm of ignorance, Maya. You have to understand from a profound point of view. All the teaching you receive in the realm of Maya. Nevertheless, they have the effect to awaken you, bring awakening, and lead you through 3 stages. You are rigged by a divine plan. It gets into your head. You're dreaming, but you're dreaming with a subtle rigged movement. During deep sleep, everyone experiences the absence of duality. But the veil of ignorance is not removed. Simple point. You go on hearing how very advanced level padartha bhavana is described like a deep sleep. And you may take a foxy step. It's very easy. Why didn't people tell us that the solution lies in sleep? Find some drugs that give you deep sleep. And plan for a deep, deep, deep sleep. And whenever you wake up, keep a picture of Kumbhakarna. Who slept for 6 months and kept awake for only 1 day. But that's completely negative. Not this type of minus sleep. We are talking about plus sleep. In that state, all that you experience through your mind are viewed as illusion. And the mind then goes through a mystic modification. And instead of allowing the soul to be involved within projections, the soul discovers lifting up all projections. That's what I have described. Bhav pratyaya, pratyaya bhav. You watch a cinema show, as long as you are watching and being entertained, understand there is a presence of projection. Presence is there. That's what makes you be entertained and go on eating your popcorns. Creating karmas. But the final stage, projection moves away. The whole total projection. But then you are realizing what was there behind the projection. Pure screen. This is screen that was always before your view. But you didn't see the screen. Divine self, pure consciousness, is the screen that's always the reality. But that reality eludes your grasp. Mind starts asking, I see so many things, but where is God? We help the human mind. People said, God is in Vaikuntha. Put their finger up. Look at the Milky Way. Go further up. And there is Vaikuntha. But first we will go to Brahma-Loka, Vishnu-Loka, Loka-Loka. The reality, Brahman alone is. The screen is always there. Even though while watching the show, you went far and wide. But all the time you were looking at the screen. A kid nearby who doesn't understand the show, you look at the mother, what are you looking? Looking at the screen. put it another way to understand. Without awareness, you will not have the experience through your senses. Sense experience through your feelings, three types of experience. Bhur, bhuva, swa. Experience of practical reality. Experience, awareness of pleasure, pain, desires, hopes, expectations, etc., all the feeling-based world. And then awareness based on your thinking, your understanding. All these three types of awareness are illusory refraction of pure consciousness. Real consciousness is going through these three refracted states. So the reality behind all this you experience in three planes is just awareness. And then you ask, where is that awareness? Even if you scratch your nose because of a little mosquito, that awareness is sourced by Brahman. How long will a person will take to go to Brahman? How distant is he? Try to figure out what awareness. Can we stay without awareness for even a moment? That awareness. But beware of all these illusions. Don't switch your attention from awareness to illusions. That's Brahman. And nothing happens to that Brahman. Brahman remains just the same, absolute. And yet what scripture is saying, that being so close, and yet it eludes the grasp. Now to the masses, how to understand that point. All things that you see through your eyes. Ask your eyes, can you see yourself? Eyes don't look at their own eyes. You have to use a mirror to see the reflection. But eyes have no direct experience of how do they look. But yet they can look at everybody, the whole world, but not to itself. Pure consciousness doesn't have to look at itself. It's pure awareness. That's the drishti, Brahma drishti, Jnana drishti. The real drishti, the real vision is absolute vision. And that's the reality that every soul has to discover and realize. Though Brahman continues to shine like the vast blue sky, yet it is not seen because of the externalized vision of the mind. Externalized vision, you are so involved with experiences at the plane of senses, experiences at the plane of your sentiments, experiences at the plane of your thinking, insightful understanding, at the plane of your intellect. So involved with this awareness that has split itself into three planes that you forget about what awareness is. This spiritual advancement, subtle process allows you to discover, I am the light of lights. I am the absolute, Brahman, the awareness. Awareness in itself. And described as Saccidananda. To a proper understanding that pure existence, absolute existence. Brahman is defined as Saccidananda. God is Saccidananda. First point, Sat, existence. Where should I look for God? Look for existence. Anything is existing, you find He is everywhere. Something is always existing. Then you have to understand, look for existence that is invariable, that supports all variables. All names and forms are changing. Clouds go on changing. The sky doesn't. That invariable, imperishable, immutable existence, also known as existence in itself, that's Sat. And then put your mind to another one step. That Sat is pure Chit, it is pure awareness. It's not some dead matter Sat, but it's all awareness. Chit. And then to complete this understanding, absolute joy, bliss. Saccidananda is at every moment in your life, every pore in your personality, every bit that you experience in the world, every little mosquito, every dust particle, every ant. And all the worlds and the stars, all is nothing but Saccidananda. Aham Brahmasmi. And with this we'll hold off. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.